Greetings to the anointed. You who see beyond the veil, who question what they tell you to accept blindly, know this. The game was rigged before you even stepped onto the board. They do not fear criminals. They create them. They do not seek justice. They manufacture narratives. And if you, the chosen one, dare to rise, to carve your own path, they will script your downfall before you even take your next breath. Look around. Who suddenly wants to be your ally? Who watches your every move but calls it admiration? Who smiles, but their eyes betray a different truth? The system doesn't need you to be guilty. It only needs the right whispers in the right ears, the right betrayal from the right pawn. And as you sit there, wondering how your name became tangled in a web of deception, know this. It was never about what you did. It was about who you are. Elon Musk has broken mountains for you, not because you needed saving, but because the road ahead was never meant to be walked by the ordinary. You are not just playing the game, you are breaking it. This is not just about law and order. It's psychological warfare, and knowledge is your only weapon. Now, let's discuss the rules they never wanted you to know. First, the narcissist as a weaponized informant is the FBI's preferred tactic. The FBI doesn't just depend on frightened criminals to accept a plea bargain. Most individuals get caught sliding because that's what they believe. The true power maneuver is to enlist narcissists who betray others without even being threatened. It comes easily to them. Control, prestige, and demonstrating their superiority are all things that narcissists are fixated with. They are thus the ideal instrument for law enforcement. The narcissist will take care of the rest if the feds provide the perfect lure, such as money, immunity, or just the opportunity to feel significant. They consider themselves to be the mastermind, the genius collaborating with the authorities, and they don't even consider themselves snitches. They are unaware that they are only being utilized. The government does extensive personality research. They are able to identify the kind of individual who, in order to feel powerful, would deceive, manipulate, and sell off their closest pals. Because they don't feel guilty. Narcissists are perfect for this. They have no qualms about inventing evidence, manipulating narratives, or inflating little facts into serious federal charges. They don't worry about the repercussions as long as they have their chance to shine. The risky thing is that a narcissist is already obsessed with their victim. They could not like watching someone succeed, or they may be resentful or envious. Therefore, when law enforcement provides them with an opportunity, they take pleasure in it rather than just participating. They will sow doubt, incite conflict, and guide their victim into a trap. They will pose as friends while surreptitiously gathering evidence against them. The narcissist does all the hard work while the feds take a back seat. When the narcissist will invent proof for them, they don't have to. It's too late by the time the target understands what's occurring. Their opponent was never just a hater. Their companion was never their friend. And the game was never fair in the first place. Second, those who are selected are not only singled out, but also subjected to laboratory rat research. Arresting you is not the beginning of the setup. It doesn't even begin with the formal commencement of the probe. Long before that, when they first see you, it begins. The system anticipates their growth and keeps an eye on them like a long-term investment, rather than waiting for the selected ones to make a mistake. They are already aware of you if you are intelligent, influential, or have the capacity to motivate others in ways that defy the conventional wisdom. They keep an eye out not just for criminals, but also for possible dangers, such as independent thinkers, unconventional movement, and uncontrollable individuals. The government maintains whole databases containing the names of people who are considered disruptive elements, but have never committed a crime. They monitor financial movements, social trends, and internet activity in search of indications of influence that may put the incorrect systems in jeopardy. They don't require you to commit any crimes once you're tagged. All they need is a chance to make it seem as if you did. For this reason, setups often catch the selected ones off guard. They believe they are safe because of their spotless background. But in fact, they were researched long before they were singled out. When it comes time to relocate, the system already knows just how to break you since it has learned everything about you, including your connections, habits, and vulnerabilities. Their foot soldiers might be envious rivals, old pals, or ex-partners. To put you in a vulnerable position, they inflict financial strain, social exclusion, or legal ambiguity. They attack when the time is right. The case has already been constructed by the time they take action. They've been gathering and assembling proof of your collapse for years, so they don't need to rush to find it. They will turn your desire into criminal purpose, your contacts into conspiracy, and your charity into money laundering. The story is important, not the fact. For this reason, those who are selected must act carefully. The system is observing leaders before they are even aware that they are leaders, not merely crooks. It doesn't merely attack when the timing is appropriate. It carries out a strategy that was initiated long before you anticipated it. The third is the money trail structure, which allows you in but then ensnares you in paperwork. The most common error individuals make is assuming that they are safe as long as they are clean. That is untrue. The system just needs a paper trail that gives the impression that you are guilty. It doesn't require you to be guilty. One of their simplest methods: cash. A single transaction, a loan to the wrong person, a contribution to someone who is being investigated, or a commercial transaction with an informant, is all that is needed to commit financial crimes, despite the common misconception that such crimes need a complex plot. They retrieve that file the moment they need to take you down, even if it's something you hardly remember from years ago. All of a sudden, an innocent payment is being accused of helping and abetting, conspiracy, or money laundering. Money travels quickly, but paper trails are permanent, which is what makes this so risky. The federal government will hold on to this information for whatever long it takes them to require it. When you send the money, they don't stop you. The fact that the individual you are interacting with is being investigated is not even disclosed to you. When the hole is deep enough to bury you, they let you dig it yourself. The worst part is that they set individuals up to steal money. To entice you to give them money, undercover agents and informants may pose as in need of assistance, offer fictitious business prospects, or seem to be having difficulties. When you do, you're officially documented as having given money to an undercover police officer. They just require background that seems negative on paper. They don't need a genuine crime. By the time they show there, it's more about how guilty they can make you seem than whether you did anything wrong. They will use witness statements, bank data, and text messages to create a false image of you that is persuasive enough to destroy your life. It's too late by the time you know what's going on. The setup occurred when they agreed to allow you, not when you accepted the money. The fourth is narcissistic fixation, which is when hatred turns into a full-time occupation. Hatred from a narcissist is never passive. Rather, it is aggressive, all-consuming, and often a full-time occupation masquerading as an obsession. They don't just despise you. They research you, follow your every action, and seek for any chance to undermine you. Things get serious when law enforcement intervenes and gives them a formal role in destroying you. When a narcissist is enlisted as an informant, they are acting rather than just snitching. Power, control, and finally having a cause to be in your life again are the goals here, not justice for them. Under the pretense of assisting with the inquiry, they get to indulge their passion. But in practice, they are really using their envy as a weapon with support from the federal government. This explains why their strategies grow so drastic. Reporting what you're doing is insufficient. They must make you seem guilty. They meticulously control your surroundings so that every action you do might be seen as an error. Sow doubt in your social circle and circulate stories to erode your network of support. The most inhumane aspect? They consider themselves victorious. They believe they are outwitting you, controlling the story, and demonstrating to both themselves and other people that they were always the true protagonist. They are unaware that they are only a pawn in the system, an instrument that will be discarded as soon as they are no longer needed. Ultimately, the narcissist does not get a hero's reward. When their duty is over, they are left in the same awful situation they were in before. But now everyone knows who they truly are. The federal government doesn't respect them, and society doesn't adore them. The fifth is how the system manipulates perceptions using biblical symbolism. In addition to setting individuals up, the system fabricates a narrative about them that encourages the public to accept and even rejoice in their demise. What is the simplest approach to do that? Biblical illusions. They portray their targets as villains in a pre-written screenplay because they are aware that people react more to stereotypes than facts. They will radically change the narrative if you are seen as a positive influence rather than just attacking you. A selected one who inspires others. They will call them a manipulator, a liar, and a false prophet. They will label you a rebel, an extreme, or a troublemaker if you advocate for justice. They will portray you as a corrupt person who takes advantage of the public if you have spiritual authority. In addition to discrediting you, the intention is to so severely sway public opinion against you that it doesn't even matter whether you're being set up. History continues repeating itself because of this. The system always ends up crucifying those who are supposed to improve it. First, they branded Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr. as criminals before the world realized their actual motivation. Jesus himself was called a menace to power and a blasphemer. The goal of the system has always been to ensure that the general public believes the correct falsehood at the appropriate moment, not to uphold the truth. The problem of this approach lies in the fact that, once persuaded, the public no longer need proof or evidence. The villain has already been assigned to you. Your finest traits will be used against you by them. Your leadership turns into a cult. Your influence becomes hazardous, and your charity turns into money laundering. Because in this system, it's never about whether you did it or not, but rather about whether they can make it seem that you did. The world has already determined that you are guilty before you've ever had a chance to explain yourself. Sixth, they intentionally, not by accident, retain narcissists in your life. You don't keep running across toxic individuals by chance. Because narcissists are ideal inside agents, the system permits, promotes, and sometimes even makes it easier for them to return. They are attention-hungry, easily swayed, and emotionally unstable. They are thus a very useful weapon for anybody who want to observe, undermine, or manipulate you. The whole purpose of a narcissist's life is to get close enough to harm you. They need knowledge, access, and a sense of relevance. Because of this, you'll find that a nasty ex, a phony friend, or a jealous family member may suddenly emerge just when you're ready to make big steps or when you're about to level up. It's intentional. It's not simply lousy timing. To be helpful, they don't even have to be employed by the federal government. They are ideal tools because of their innate drive for drama and control. They will disseminate gossip, steal data, cause emotional turmoil, and, above all, keep you from focusing on your true objectives. They turn into an unwitting tool for the system, intellectually and emotionally weakening you to the point where you are unable to properly defend yourself when a true setup occurs. Even worse, if they are recruited by the system. They have a motivation now, whether it's cash, favors, or the joy of finally controlling you. They will instigate arguments, influence you to make poor choices, and document all of your outbursts as proof. They will be right there, looking astonished and appearing as if they had nothing to do with it when the time comes for you to fail. For this reason, poisonous individuals don't just go away. There's a reason the system maintains them in place. They are weapons, not only diversions. Weapons that are intended to destabilize you, collect information, and be prepared to attack at the appropriate moment. You may begin permanently eliminating these planted saboteurs as soon as you realize this. The seventh is managed chaos, which is the skill of shattering you without doing anything. Pressure is more effective than force when it comes to taking someone down. Instead of attacking you directly, the system has perfected the art of controlled chaos. Rather, they foster an atmosphere in which your own life begins to collapse. There are no overt plots or spectacular arrests, just a methodical, patient disassembly that wears you down too much to resist. For this reason, their weapons include narcissists, financial strain, and legal ambiguity. They are aware that even the strongest individual will fracture when the proper amount of pressure is applied repeatedly. Unexpected legal issues, a surprise IRS audit, or a knock to your income are never random. They are all intended to cause you enough instability to make you make a mistake. The finest aspect? They don't need to do anything. This is the role of narcissists. The method allows them to do the majority of the grunt labor, which wears you down emotionally, diverts your attention, and keeps you on guard all the time. They arrange events to make you seem unstable, create drama that compels you to respond, and disseminate unfounded stories that alienate you. It's simpler to make you destroy yourself if they can keep you emotionally and psychologically unbalanced. You're too exhausted to fully defend yourself by the time the actual trap is placed. You stop trusting anybody, even those who are attempting to assist you. You make poor choices, and you snap at the wrong people. They may claim that it was all you when you ultimately break. No setup, no plot. Simply someone who couldn't take the strain. This is the real game. If they can make you destroy yourself, they don't need to arrest you. All they do is set up the proper circumstances, then watch as you get enmeshed in the issues they planned. They've already moved on to their next victim by the time you understand what occurred. The eighth is that they love to exploit your generosity as a trap to take advantage of you. Although generosity ought to be a virtue, it becomes a disadvantage in a corrupt society. People that are chosen have an innate desire to assist others, whether it is by providing opportunities, financial support, or just being a gift in their life. Most people are unaware that compassion may be used against you, and the system is well versed in its use. Your heart is your weak area, and narcissists in law enforcement or just toxic individuals seeking retribution are aware of this. Therefore, they set up situations in which your kindness may be turned into a crime. Knowing that your natural tendency is to assist immediately and inquire later, they approach you with tales of adversity, dire circumstances, and pressing needs. They're creating a paper trail behind the scenes that gives the impression that you're sponsoring illicit behavior. One transaction to the incorrect person, one favor for an under-investigator, or one connection to a watchlist individual is all that is required. An act of generosity suddenly becomes a link to organized crime. That money you offered a buddy who was having trouble. These days, it's called money laundering. That money put into someone's company. Financial fraud is what it is today. Even contributions to charities may be twisted to fund illegal activities if the system feels like it wants to bring you down. The fact that this trap is designed to function in retrospect is what makes it so hazardous. Donating won't be stopped by the system. They won't let you know that the individual you're assisting is being watched. After allowing you to enter the setup, they take the receipts and use your goodwill to make a case against you months or even years later. No one is interested in your intentions when it occurs. The narrative has already been written. You were plotting, not assisting. You were subsidizing crime, not being kind. Suddenly, your greatest asset turns become the cause of your failure. The ninth is that they anticipate and control your movements using artificial intelligence. Nowadays, surveillance involves more than simply seeing. It also involves forecasting and managing. The technology uses artificial intelligence to trace your every step before you ever make it. So it isn't only depending on human informants. AI creates a digital blueprint of your thoughts and responses by analyzing your patterns, habits, emotions, and vulnerabilities. They already know precisely what bait you will fall for, what pressure will break you, and what predicament you will unknowingly enter by the time they decide to set you up. Predictive algorithms continuously examine everything you do online, including your communications, search history, buying patterns, and social media relationships. They record not just what you say, but also how you say it. They evaluate your emotional states, how you make decisions, and even when you're most susceptible. They are aware of your impulsive stress reactions, financial strain struggles, and triggers that cause you to lose your temper. They provide the ideal storm at the appropriate moment. They already know when you're most likely to make a financial error, so they may try to force you into it. They have previously determined the precise kind of provocation that will cause you to react violently if that is their intention. It doesn't seem like manipulation since it's based on your own habits. Rather, it feels like life simply occurred that way. The actual risk is that AI not only foretells your demise, it actively contributes to it. It regulates what messages you get, what information is pushed to your stream, and even what false narratives are disseminated to set you off. The system creates the precise situation that will cause you to slide, rather than waiting for you to do so. The harm has already been done by the time you realize you were fooled. Not only was the arrangement designed, but it was also meticulously calculated, tested, and carried out. The real issue is not if you will be controlled, but rather when. In a future where artificial intelligence understands you better than you do. The hero complex trap is number 10. They rely on you to validate their claims. The trap that gives you the impression that you are in charge is the most deadly one, not the one you anticipate. The system is aware that those who are selected have an innate sense of justice, a need to protect their reputation, and a desire to reveal the truth. Therefore, rather than assaulting you directly, they create a psychological battleground where every action you take to clear your reputation actually exacerbates the situation. The hero complex trap is this. They falsely accuse you because they know you won't keep quiet. They rely on your natural tendency to defend yourself in public, to fight back, and to disprove them. They don't disclose to you that they have complete control over the procedure. The purpose of the charges is to elicit an emotional response from you, which they will subsequently use as proof against you. They just need a story that supports the picture they want to present, not facts. They will push you till you lose your temper, and then just show the section when you lose it. If they want to give the impression that you are unstable, they will fabricate confrontations, alter video, and ensure that only the most damaging version of events is released if they want to portray you as hostile. They will continue to accuse you if they want you to seem guilty, since, to the outside world, a defensive person always appears guilty. They don't want you to know that quiet is often more effective than responding because of this. They will employ media pressure, phony friends, and narcissists to keep you fighting a losing struggle. You fall farther and further into their trap the more you struggle. The true goal is to convince you to follow their rules, not to prove your innocence or truth. They don't have to ruin you after you've involved yourself emotionally. You'll ruin yourself, one response at a time.